Greetings 10131 students. This week's teacher chat is going to go over module number 2 in our Canvas shell. Today I will go through the introduction to inquiry number 1, which is our first writing assignment. I will go through a quick PowerPoint about active reading, as well as a heuristic or brainstorming exercise that will be due at the end of this week. All right, as you can see on the screen, you're looking at module 2 in our Canvas shell, and this will be released on Monday at 12 a.m., just as every week will be released at Monday at 12 a.m. As you can see here, there are a different number of steps to take, but again, just as a reminder, I'm expecting that you kind of do each step in order. So even though you do not see 2.1 up here, that will be this video that I am currently making. And then I include the PowerPoint presentation that I will go through in this video in case you want to look at that separately. Then you will have 2.2, which is a discussion element, which is like the social water cooler lounge. You guys did a great job last time of sharing pictures and talking about just what's bringing you comfort this week. This week, we're going to talk about something different. So check it out. Each week, I'll put out a different question for the student lounge. Our major focus this week is getting introduced and developing the theme of Inquiry 1, which is constructed bodies. So if you come to this part of the module, you will be able to see the assignment sheet. Please, please, please read my assignment sheets carefully. I'm very specific and detailed about what I'm looking for, and I am assuming that you are also reading everything that I am looking for. At the top, you will notice again that I call these inquiries to encourage investigation, curiosity, research, all those types of good things. Each inquiry assignment sheet will have inquiry questions. These questions are driving and guiding our work throughout the inquiry. So, inquiry 1 will last for 3 weeks. These inquiry questions will guide us through those 3 weeks. So the questions this inquiry are: how do bodies make arguments? And how do we compose or fashion our bodies to make arguments? Here you go through the important dates. I'll come back to those. But your task is this. Part 1, you will write a 3-page narrative about a time when you constructed your body for a specific purpose. One way to unpack this concept of constructed bodies is for you to identify a time when you composed your body for a particular purpose. This could be a range of things. It could be a moment when, in time when you tried to make a goal in a soccer game, or you learned a choreography for a dance performance, or you dressed up for a date, or maybe a specific job interview. It could be a time when you had an argument with someone, but that affected how you moved your body. Maybe you were very close, maybe you were very far, maybe there was lots of hand gestures or stomping around. Any theme is fine as long as you were trying to make an argument in part through how you moved your body. Of course, arguments also come with words, that's fine too. The main goal of the essay, though, is to tell a good story with attention to detail about how you composed your body for a specific purpose. After telling a good story, you should also reflect for maybe a paragraph or two about what this experience means to you now, or how it helps you think about bodies. Since this is not a long paper, make sure to pick a story that you can narrate in about 3 pages, where you can focus on the main event, performance, engagement. I've had some wonderful essays about a job interview at SeaWorld, about making a goal in soccer, even about just brushing your teeth. So feel free to kind of be open about the topic that speaks to you. That's part 1. In inquiry 1, I'm also going to ask you to write what I call a writer's letter. A writer's letter is a 2-page letter to me telling me about your experiences in the English classes and how they influence your assumptions about this class. We will have a writer's letter for every inquiry. The questions will change throughout how to reflect, but the goal is to get you to reflect about your writing process. So, in this writer's letter, I'd like for you to go through the following bullet points. There's 4. Just make sure you're thorough in answering most of the questions. Overall, the purpose of Inquiry 1 is to become just more aware of how bodies are constructed and crafted. Since this is the theme of the course, I'm interested in you kind of developing not only what that means for your body, but how we read and understand bodies around us. The grading, a good Inquiry 1 will be thoughtful and focused. A solid writer's letter will answer all the above questions and fulfilling the 2-page limit. It's not a formal paper, but I do expect paragraphs and basic grammar to be taken into consideration. Please read through the assignment sheet carefully and let me know if you have any questions. So this is Inquiry 1. if we're going back to the modules for this week, you'll see that that's just step 2.3. After that, I have 2 readings for you to do. One is a short essay by Brent Staples called Walk On By, and number 2 is one chapter from a online textbook called EMPO World, or Word, and you can access that through these 2 threads. I'm not going to go through these now, but I do want to kind of pull you into talking about reading. As we are an English class, a lot of what I'm asking you to do depends on the fact of careful reading. And so I just want to go through a quick PowerPoint to remind you about what it means to read in college. So most students are going to say, hey, I already know how to read. But I want to kind of emphasize that success in college depends on a student's ability to read and comprehend a really wide range of texts. You already do this to some degree because you read text messages, you read emails, you read articles online, you read manuals when you get a new device in your home. We all do a fair amount of reading in our lives. But I want to remind you and assure you that the types of reading you're going to do in my class and in other college classes are not scary or meant to trick you. They're meant to give you very specific discipline, specific information. So let me help you get into the reading. Reading in college is, number 1, a process. In other words, there are many steps involved in reading and understanding a text well. Nobody who reads in college just sits down and reads all their homework in half an hour and walks away and they have all the information. You are not a bank. We do not just deposit your new information into your head. It takes time and many steps. So just make sure and make peace with that idea. Reading in college also takes focus. You will need to have limited outside distractions, noise, interruptions, etc., as well as internal distractions, your own mental focus away from problems, worries, and doubts, or even that nagging idea that you need to get more Skittles. You need to figure out how to focus. This might be for short bursts of time, 5-10 minutes. The goal would be to work up for a good 20 minutes, 40 minutes at a time when reading. And lastly, reading in college is complex. There is no one way to approach all your texts. You may not be able to read your biology textbook the same way you will read text for my class, the same way you will read a statistics textbook. So just become adaptable, think about the situation, move on from there. So a good couple of key ideas to keep in mind. You might be thinking, I'm not a good reader, I don't like books, I don't like to read, I never will be. But that's really not what I'm here to convince you of. I'm not here to convince you that you are the best reader ever and that you like reading. I'm here already with the assumption that you have to read in order to move through this course and other courses in college. And so just a reminder of what a good reader means. Doesn't mean that you love it. It means that you are motivated. You want to understand the text so you can get your tasks done, whether that's your homework, so that you can go on and see your friends, watch a movie, eat a good dinner, all of those good things. Good readers are also engaged. They find something to be curious about in the text. This is one of life's greatest skills. If you can figure out how to be curious, even about something that you think you know nothing about and don't ever want to learn about, you're going to get through a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, a lot of busy work that you kind of have to do to get through steps in life. So figure out how to be curious about something in the text. And lastly, good readers are strategic. They know what they are reading in this text and who might care about this text, so they know what to do next. You do not have to sit there and be engulfed in the readings right away, but you do have to figure out, why am I reading this? How can I read this better? And move on from there. Reading strategies, a couple pre-reading ideas. Look carefully at the text. Who wrote it? Who is it for? Maybe it's not even for a college student. Maybe it's for other college professors. How does that change things? How is it broken up? Are there headings, glossaries, subsections? Find motivation. Do you need to read this to complete another assignment? What do you think you might learn in the text? Figure out the topic. Sometimes the topic is very broad. Sometimes it's very specific. What do you know about it? What do you think you want to know about it? And then strategize. Literally, how many pages do you have to read? Count them. How long do you have to read them? Do you need to break this up into different sessions? Planning makes it a whole lot easier than sitting down when you have 15 minutes to read 20 pages. Lastly, be ready. Can you take notes in the text? Can you annotate it? Do you want to print it out? Can you read it on a screen? Do you have a pen and paper? Is the assignment sheet next to you? just be ready. That makes it so much easier than having to stop and go and find a pen and a paper or the assignment sheet and to get distracted. Reading strategies for reflective reading. I'll go through these quickly, but basically you want to chunk up the reading. Make sure you're stopping at different points to ask yourself, do I know what's being said? How can I understand this better? Do I need to take any notes? Annotating the text is always helpful. And then return to your assignment sheet and ask yourself, what do I need to do next after I read this reading? Lastly, just try your best. Reading is a really unique intellectual process of listening to the writer and imagining at the same time. It's one of the coolest things we do as humans, I think. And then lastly, it's a lifelong skill that's the first step in success. So just a quick PowerPoint to remind you about how to get into reading. Lastly, I want to draw us back to Module 2. Again, Module 2 has the 2 readings that I want you to do, and then the quiz and the discussion post. The quiz, again, just to remind you, is always going to ask you about anything happening this week. So this week we have a number of things that we are reading. The quiz is on the readings. You cannot do the quiz without doing the readings. And in actuality, I would have the readings pulled up so that you can refer back to them. It's not a closed book or closed note kind of quiz. And then the discussion post. The discussion post is also on the readings. The difference between the two is that the quiz is asking for you to identify what happened in the text and to engage with the ideas a bit. The discussion post is asking your opinions and your reactions to it. Here's where you tell me I like something, I didn't like something, I agreed or I disagreed with something. These things you will begin to recognize week after week as we go through the course. Lastly, most modules or most weeks you will have some sort of assignment that is linked to the inquiry. This week it's the heuristic. I will bring this up really fast. The heuristic is a brainstorming worksheet that you're going to do to help you come up with a topic for Inquiry 1. So you're going to download this worksheet as a Word document. I'll bring it up here. Go ahead and read the instructions, and then you are going to type in whatever your answers are here and do the whole worksheet. When you're done with the worksheet, you will save it on your computer or your desktop or your laptop, and then you're going to submit it here, if that makes sense. Yours looks a little different than mine because I'm the teacher and I'm seeing it in Teacher View. That will be due by Sunday. Again, if we're going back and looking at the modules, every quiz and discussion posts will be due by Friday. By Sunday, you will need to do both the heuristic and 2 responses to peers discussion posts. I'm explaining everything very quickly here, but I just want to reassure you that I've written out in instructions everything that I'm discussing here, and you're free to come back and watch this video a second time. Anyway, it was great to meet you all, air quotations there. It was great to meet you all on your posts and then through your narratives last week. I'm excited to get to know you guys more. Please show up for office hours this week if you have any questions. I will be available from 12 to 2 on Wednesday, but again, I really need you to email me or inbox me to let me know that you want to come. It just is an easier system to do so, but I'm happy to do so. So, hope to hear from you all. Have a great week.